Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Nigeria, Sars, was created to fight against special robberies, but over time they became robbers themselves. They stopped non-Nigerians on the road and invade their privacy by going through their phones, and then label them as either internet fraudsters or prostitutes based on how they are dressed, whether they have an iPhone or not, or other irrelevant things like that. They then proceed to state a certain amount of money to be collected and then drag them to an ATM or a POS machine to pay this money. And anybody who cannot pay is dragged to the station, never to be seen again, or even killed right then and then. So young Nigerians all over Nigeria and the diaspora are saying enough is enough and are calling for a total scrap of this unit, because over time they've reformed, they've disbanded, but the problem still persists. So now saying enough is enough, and then we're calling for this unit to be scrapped. One, sorry if you get caught up in the way we're trying to create a better Nigeria.
So my experience with Sars happened like a year ago. I was on my way to my friend's place at first time, and it got to a place that I just had to use bike because the house was close by. So on my way, I found these Sars car coming with full speed, and they immediately blocked us. So I was like scared, what's going on here now? So they told me to come down, but like a troop of them, like 7 or so. So they took me to their car and they were asking me foolish questions. Like they dragged me, man. I was like, wow, am I a thief guy? So asking me questions like, are you a Yahoo guy? See your beard, see your chain, see what you're wearing, and stuff like that. I was explaining to them that I don't know, I'm not a Yahoo guy, I'm just a student. They searched my bag and it was my ID card that made them leave me after some minutes of searching.
So I'm only going to make one point, because I've been seeing tweets and posts from people who believe that our protests and fight against police brutality and SARS in Nigeria is a waste of time. They also think that, you know, we are causing them great inconvenience with our protests. Now, if you are one of these people, I'm here to let you know that is miserable thinking, and you need to reevaluate your mind, because you have absolutely no right to sit down there on your high horses and tell Nigerians who have been victims of rape, harassment, bullying of different kinds, extortion from people who are supposed to be protecting them. You have no right to tell them how to react. You have no right to dictate to them how they should respond. And also, to people who believe that we are causing them great inconvenience with our protests, if you cannot endure for this period of time that we are fighting for a better Nigeria, then I don't know what else to tell you.
Some years ago, I was going for an all-night event at VI, and I was coming from the mainland, you know. So I was going alone, I wasn't going with my friends, so I took public transport. So I got to Obalende late, and I was late for where I was going, so I thought of taking bike so I could get there on time. So on our way to Sanusi Fafunwa, I was going to Sanusi Fafunwa. On our way, we came in contact with some SARS officials, yeah, on one of the streets in VI. So they stopped the bike, so I was expecting that, okay, probably they wanted to collect something from the bike man, you know, it was late and the bike man was running. The case was different. The guy came to me and he asked me, who are you? I said, okay, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a student. He said, okay, can I see your phone? My phone. Like, why? Why should I give you my phone? He then told me, you better cooperate now. Cooperate. It's just me and you here. You better cooperate. Then the bike man told me that I should try to cooperate with them, that these guys are something else. So I gave him my phone. When I gave him my phone, he checked and he went to my SMS, and what was he looking for in my SMS? I guess he was looking for alerts, transaction, bank alerts, you know. And of course, I don't keep that on my phone. I delete them immediately. He didn't see anything. He didn't see anything incriminating. He didn't see any transaction, whatever. He didn't see. So he returned my phone and he told me to give him something. I'm like, okay. So I tapped my hands I brought out my wallet. I brought out 500 and I gave to the guy. The guy looked at me. He said in pidgin, he said, look my face, you think I they follow you, they joke? Then I knew I was in for something. Then I was scared at that moment. He cocked his gun and pointed it at me. He told me to bring the wallet. I gave him my wallet. And of course I didn't have much cash in the wallet. I had about between 8-9k thereabouts cash in the wallet. And I had my ATM, my ID card. So he brought out my ID card first. He checked my ID card. He returned it. My business ID card, he returned it. Then he went to the part where there was money. He brought out the money, brought out all the money. And then to remove 500, returned 500 in the wallet and gave him back the wallet. At that point, you have no idea what was running through my mind. I was scared. Like, I just wanted to leave that place. I wanted to leave that place. You know, everybody driving by would just feel, okay, it's police officers, it's bike man and the rest. Nobody knew what was actually going on there. The guy took all the money in my wallet and returned 500 and told the bike man to go. And of course, this guy that cocked gun late at night around 11 p.m. I was facing me with a gun. Will I argue with this? Will I argue with this guy? No, many youths have died that way.
So concerning this, concerning the police brutality, like I've just had this kind of, okay, like not a present fear, but like fear for the future. You get, like, I'm always like, is this going to last forever? Like, is this going to end? Is everything we are doing to make it end going to work? Like, there are just a lot of fears around this social vice we have. In fact, to me, it's even a pandemic on its own, because it's really bad. It's really bad, really, really bad. Like, especially when I saw this picture of this guy that was just looking at protesters and he ended up being shot. At that point, I was like, hey, we are not safe. This thing is no longer, I'm not a Yahoo boy. I'm not related to anybody that is in Yahoo, so it's none of my business. It's nothing like that anymore. It's nothing like that at all. Like, but the thing is, I must really commend youths that were able to come out to protest. I feel like the physical protest was very much effective than the online protest. Although the online protest helps too, but those physical protests were
going on. Personally, I have not had an encounter with Sars. Luckily, glory to God, because I see what they do to other people. I've witnessed how they treat my friends who, unfortunately for them, have gotten into the hands of SARS. Like, when we're all together, these people are brutal, they are wicked, they are heartless. They just, in fact, the one time I was with a friend and witnessed what these guys could do. They almost killed us because he was being stubborn about not opening his phone and all that. So this is not what we want. This is not what we asked for. These people are supposed to protect us, and if they're not protecting us, I honestly do not see why they're still on our streets. So please, Endsars, take them off the streets. We're too young to die.
I'm lucky enough not to have been harassed or extorted or abused by any of these SARS operatives. In fact, I am fortunate enough not to have been stopped at all by any SARS officers. However, I have been stopped by the police on multiple occasions, once in either year from 2017, that's once in 17, once in 18, once in 19, and once this year. But on each of those occasions, I had all of my identification cards with me, and I was lucky enough to have left unscathed. However, I think that despite my good fortune, that isn't enough reason for me to undermine the extent of the harms. I mean, every average Nigerian knows just how bad SARS is. The profiling, the extortion, the murder, the kidnapping, it's all very, very inhumane. And I really, really hope that they are not just ended, but they are completely dissolved, and the rogue officers are brought to book. whether through termination of their employment or through conviction and incarceration. But either way, I hope that there is more accountability and there are more stringent measures to punish them going forward and curb all of these vices.
Okay, this is my view on the Endsars movement and the protest. I think it is the perfect way to approach the issue because we've tried dialoguing, we've tried talking. I have personal experiences and I'm grateful that it didn't lead to my death, but I don't want to dwell on that too much so that I don't take away the whole point of the movement. People have died, people have been brutalized, people have been harassed, so I think it's long overdue that we the youths come out and actually speak for what we want. Take this Endsars movement to them and we actually talk about the things that are affecting us. It's long overdue. People have been killed for nothing, for no reason at all. It's just really sad. The whole thing is sad. The whole thing is a mess. So I think it's perfect now that we are coming out. So we're shutting down the whole country. Do whatever it is we have to do. So that's my...
This is
and my experience happened at night. I went out of my building to get something in the middle of the night around 9:30, and coming on my way back into the building. As I got to the gate, a yellow boy just stopped and somebody stood behind me and dragged me by my waist and told me that I should move. I was even trying to explain that, sir, I just went to get something from my building, and mind you, it wasn't even during COVID. It was before COVID-19 even started. It was this year, and as it was dragging me, fortunately for me, another officer said that you should let me go. That look at the way I'm dressed. That if I'm not the one they are looking for, and nobody was aware that anything like that was going on, because at night my street is mostly quiet and people don't move at night like that. And that's my experience, sir. A couple of my other friends and people I grew up with in my neighborhood have spent nights in Elijah police station all because of Sars, and they've been arrested because of their hairstyle. They've had to pay money for them to be released. They've had to run for their lives, all from Sars. That's my experience with Sars.
Everybody, they don't even want to care. These Sars people are killing everybody. I mean, I've had my personal share of experience with them, more than once, more than twice. I mean, I could vaguely remember when I was going back to school from home, and they stopped me, and I was like, "Okay, good afternoon, officer. And they're like, what are you doing here? Who are you? Where are you from?" And I was like, "Okay, sir. I am a student at the University of Lagos." I showed them my ID card. I said, "I'm going back to school," and they were like, "What's your occupation? Where's your phone?" And they asked me to open my phone. I mean, in a sane country, a person should have rights. So it is our personal property. A person should feel like she'll have rights to use our personal property. Do you get? So I feel like we are being denied rights, and these people are throwing it into our faces that they won't give us our right and we can't do nothing about it. I will say this now, and I will continue saying it. This thing is as a result of the older generations, what they brought upon us. I mean, they've remained silent while these people have actually bullied them to the front of
my experience on this SARS-ish. Okay, not really my experience though, with my brother's own. Okay, it happened, I think last 2 weeks or so. He was getting down from a keke at Aba, and when he got down, he was about entering another one before. He wasn't even dressing fresh or anything, come to think of it. Before these SARS guys now held him up and told him to search his phone. At gunpoint though, they were actually, these people. So while searching his phone, they saw 2 Gmail accounts on his phone, and they said he was a Yahoo boy because they saw 2 Gmail accounts with different names on his phone, and they tagged him a Yahoo boy. To cut the long story short, they took him to the station, and after they took him to their station, and after every that the 2 Gmail accounts thing, they saw referral, all this referral bonus thing, they tell you refer somebody and get so and so amount of dollars, and they saw $50,000 there. So when they saw $50,000, they told him that he has scammed somebody of $50,000 before, so he's a Yahoo boy. So they took him and they told him that he should bring 80,000 naira. Okay, his friends went to go and rescue him out with 80,000. I was not really around at that point, so I couldn't do anything. So his friends around there, I went to rescue him with 80,000 naira. Imagine collecting 80,000 naira for free.
Nigeria. I think it is something that has been coming a very long friends always show fear anytime they are going out that SARS is here, SARS is there, SARS, and it's quite simple, something that can't be solved, but it seems like the government doesn't really give a heck about what we are actually saying. The people that they have actually people that they have employed to protect us are now the ones even putting us in more danger, and it makes no sense really. So it is something that should be stopped. Endsars now.
So it was 3 years ago, October 24th of 2017. I ordered an Uber from Surulere to Pangrove side. So around Jibo, my Uber was stopped. I was at the back with my laptop because my laptop was in my bag. I was using my phone now. I was at the back. The driver was in front. The Uber was stopped. They knew it was an Uber, so they left the driver alone and told me to come out of the vehicle. I came out of the vehicle. Then they asked what I have in my bag. I was inside the vehicle. I told them my laptop. Then they asked me, what do I have on my phone? That they want to see my phone, I should unlock my phone. Because when they stopped the vehicle, I locked my phone and held my phone. I told them that I can't lock my phone, that it's my privacy, they're invading my privacy. Though there's nothing like that. I was like, where's your warrants for you to search me? And they were like, if I talk any nonsense, they will take me to the police station and show me my warrant and deal with me. That's why I want to claim as if I know something. I already saw the agitation on their face, and I decided to just be calm and not do past myself, since it was clear that I had no rights in front of these people. So I unlocked my phone and I gave them, and they kept asking me all sorts of questions. I kept trying not to answer them. At that point in time, I kept telling them how they were invading my privacy and breaking rights, and it was like the fact that they saw that I was very educated, they felt okay. Probably this one is not one of the so-called Yahoo boys. Then they returned my phone. I was like, I should not do like that again. That if they ask me something, I should better give them whatever they ask for. This, that.
I went to Abuja, so on my way back from Abuja, I was going back to school, Oka precisely. Then, what happened? Then I think around Enugu, there was a checkpoint, because I used the Sienna. Then they stopped us. Then in that Sienna, we had a man, he sat down in front of the driver. There were 2 other women in front of us. Then me, one other guy that is young, let's say in his early 30s, and I think another woman or something. I can't really place it. So they now stopped us at checkpoints now. They now told me and that guy to come down.
the guy came down first. Then I started searching him. After saying nothing to bring out his bag, they now said to open his bag now. He told him to bring out everything in his bag. He started bringing out, started checking his bag. Then me, my heart started beating fast. Because all these transport companies will never hesitate to tell the policeman, see his bag that they're already leaving. Then to go and look for that passengers. Yeah, now they're searching this guy bag only for the man in front. I think he finished from Nigerian Police Academy. Now came down and was like meeting the officer what's happening, blah blah blah. He shall called some names, did this one, and after us we should enter back. He told our guy to lock up his bag. And that's how I escaped that deal.
Back then, that year, I was on a trip from Delta State. I was coming back from Delta State, and we were coming all the way from Delta State to Lagos when Sars stopped us on the road. Stopped our bus and said they wanted to search. Okay, fine. Search the bus. You didn't find anything. The next thing they did was call two guys. Like, it's very sad that these two guys, they had nothing on them. Like, these were students coming back home. These are students that went to school and was heading back home. What would their parents think? Like, I sent my child to school and he can't come back because of SARS. So that was how the SARS stopped these two boys. Like, picked these two boys from our bus and decided to search their phone. Asked them to open the phone and search the phone. They wanted to search what was on the phone. So, with all the things going on, they were like trying to drag for their right and try to speak for themselves and like wondering why they wanted to search and started asking questions. It actually turned out to be something else, because from then they started calling them Yahoo boys, that they are 419. Look at the way they are dressed. I remember vividly well that was exactly the words that came out from these people. They just decided that this guy was a Yahoo boy because of his dressing. Fun fact, this guy was just wearing sneakers, shoe, polo. Was that a crime? He wasn't even carrying his dreadlocks on his head. This guy was holding an iPhone 6. So it was then when they were dragging and trying to complicate everything, that they are not criminals, they want to call their parents, they are not Yahoo boys, they want to call their parents. They refused to let them call their parents. Like, how do you arrest somebody for a crime without allowing them to talk to somebody else? It's not right, it's not done. And the next thing, that was how they started dragging these boys right in my front.
What I'm about to say is something every sane person already knows. What I'm about to say is anybody who is politically and socially woke should know. Endsars. This Nigerian Force unit has taken the lives of innocent civilians. We deserve to live peacefully in our own country. For so long, a lot of things has been happening. We don't have the basic amenities every other country has. Poor infrastructure, no lights. Look, since to live, we are asking for the bare minimum, nothing more. That's just it. Just scrap the whole thing. Scrap everything.
Why?